we overdo baseball at spring training. Man, I love spring training. It's great. But if one more story gets written, there's a big thing. DeGrom is great. He got 6 outs in 2 innings. Cole looks like the Lord himself. He pitched a great card. These are the early days of spring. These are the best pitchers in baseball. They're supposed to look good when they come out. Don't we? We don't need to have a big story about it. I guess the papers need something. Look at this. DeGrom got 2 stories in the Post, for God's sakes. So, meanwhile, the Rangers got their butt kicked. Oh, my goodness. Two games in a row. And I must say, Friday, I predicted that they were going to run into trouble with the Flyers. I didn't bet against them because I didn't want that pain. But the Flyers are a better team right now. And for those of you who are Ranger fans, they lost 5-3 yesterday and 5-1, I think it was, on Friday. They are in trouble in terms of making the playoffs. Had a great year. They still have a shot, but don't hold your breath. All right, let me see if I have anything else I want to say in sports before we move on and take a break. Oh, yeah, this is pretty cool. Yeshiva secured its second NCAA bid in winning its 27th straight game. And the top-seeded Maccabee team defeated number 2 Purchase, right up here, SUNY Purchase, 86-74 in the Skyline Conference Final at the Max Stern Athletic Center on Sunday. The victory gave Yeshiva, which has its main campus in Washington. Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, April 14th, 2020. Welcome to Radio Westchester, your radio station at the train station. We're not at the train station today. We are observing the proper social distancing, and we are broadcasting from a remote location. It is Tuesday, April 14th, 2020, 41 degrees and clear. It's partly, will be partly sunny today. The temperature will get up to 44. Tonight, mostly cloudy and scattered. We'll be back with the weather in just a moment. Here are our headlines. Governor Cuomo, Governors Cuomo, Lamont, Murphy, and others are ready to plan a comeback as we level off the cases of the COVID virus. This as we pass through 10,000 deaths here in the United States. 6 months after the state of emergency ends, we will be planning that proposed legislation aims to protect renters from eviction 6 months after the state of emergency ends, and economic stimulus checks are ahead of schedule. We'll be back with the weather in just a moment, then we'll be back with those stories here on Radio Westchester. Good morning once again. I'm Bob Marrone. This is Mornings with Bob Marrone, and the weather is brought to you exclusively by United Hebrew of New Rochelle, voted one of America's best rehabilitation and senior care campuses, and it's right here in New Rochelle. Visit uhtc.org. Welcome to the program once again. Partly sunny today. Temperatures will get up to 44 tonight, though. Mostly cloudy. Scattered showers getting down to 40, and on Wednesday, morning showers giving way to sunshine. We'll have temperatures around 49. At night, it'll be chilly, though, getting down to 38. On Thursday, partly sunny, 50 degrees at night, 37. And Friday, increasing clouds, late day rain, sorry about that, 52, getting down to 40 at night. And Saturday, it will be sunny. Welcome to Mornings with Bob Marrone. I am Bob Marrone. This is your radio station at the train station, and we are back once again. We are practicing what we preach. Social distancing. We're not in, as we were yesterday. We are not at the station today. We are broadcasting from a remote location. Let's take a look at those headlines. Governors Cuomo, Lamont, Murphy, and other regional governors, including Philadelphia, Delaware, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, they have agreed that the virus appears to be plateauing here in this region. They're looking forward to putting together a plan. Now, it must fit the facts. That's what they say, and the circumstances. And it will be well coordinated among the region as a region, not just one state dominating the others. Economics are corrected, or that's what they're hoping for. Economics are coordinated, and they will start planning as soon as today. Now, likely, folks, it will not be a switch and everybody goes back to work. It will more than likely be by region. It will be by business. It will be according to the circumstances on the ground in the states. It's probably not going to happen in a week or two, but they are planning to restart the local economy. Now, this, as the state passed 10,000 deaths here in New York State. And it is a number that, despite the fact that we are leveling off and plateauing, that the governor and obviously the rest of the residents of the state are troubled about. But it is what it is. 10,000 deaths here in New York. It is 647. Proposed legislation is being put forward aimed to protect renters from eviction. This after 6 months of emergency ends. That is, after the 6 months, that is the emergency ends 6 months later. If you cannot pay your rent, you will not be evicted. That is the legislation that is proposed. At 6:50 today, we'll talk with Tom Abernanti about that. A sad story here in New Rochelle, but one that people are trying to ease. The family of the owner of New Rochelle's Little Mexican Cafe, he passed away from the coronavirus. The family is asking for help. Now, the owner's son right now is on a respirator, and that probably does not bode well for him, as well as the partner of the owner. And they've started a GoFund page to keep the business afloat. Minor repairs are actually being paid for by the employees. So the Facebook page, if you go to it, or rather the GoFundMe pages, help support the Almazan family. Again, the owner has passed away. His partner is on a ventilator. His son is on a ventilator. For this family business, it is a tragedy. So if you go to the Facebook page, or rather to the GoFundMe page, and you click on Help Support the Almazan Family, you can help them out if you so wish. It is 6:45. It is 41 degrees, and we go forward. The economic stimulus checks did start hitting on Saturday, to the surprise of many. In fact, some of you who get your tax refunds by automatic payment to your accounts will see those checks this week. They're actually ahead of schedule, and this according to the Treasury Secretary, Mr. Munchkin. So that is a good thing. Mr. Munchkin. Did I call him a Munchkin? I'm the Munchkin. Anyway, yesterday's storm knocked out power to 40,000 people. The wind, the rain, the flash floods. As of 9 last night, there were still 8,000 people without power, and some of them remain without power this morning. We will keep you updated as we know. You too will know. Now, up in Tappan, that is on Old Tappan Road, a downed power line actually burned through the asphalt. That's how hot that wire was. That's how troubling that issue is and was. So please be aware of that. If you're losing power this morning, you don't have power this morning, they do expect to have it turned on by 11 a.m. I should say. It is 6:47. And let's move next. The flooding, by the way, actually closed the Bronx River Parkway. It is 6:48. Nationally, the president fought with reporters as usual yesterday, and that's become an ongoing event between himself and the members of the press. However, the major issue among the press and the president yesterday was his handling. Well, no, not the major issue. His handling of the crisis is something that they keep pushing him on, and he keeps pushing back on, and that seems to be the relationship these days. But the most interesting and perhaps important of the president's assertions is his saying that the president has the power to compel the governors to do what he wishes them to do in terms of turning the economy back on. The press, lawyers are saying he does not. He insists that he does. But nonetheless, he did go on to say that he will be coordinating with the governors. Anyway, this is turning out to be more of an argument between the two entities, that is the president and the press, than the reality of the situation, because he likely will work with the states. Once again, we welcome you to the program. This is Mornings with Bob Marrone. I am Bob Marrone. This is Radio Westchester, your radio station at the train station. Now, you can't see me, which is probably a benefit for you, but you can see a sketch that they put together so that if you are watching on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope, you can listen to the program. Equally, you can listen on MyTuner Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, MyTuner Radio. I think I said that one already. Mornings with Bob Marrone at RadioWestchester.com. And if you want to keep it simple, just go to RadioWestchester.com or go to Mornings with Bob Marrone on MyTuner Radio, and we are there. You can go to Bluetooth and you can put it on your car radio, if you prefer to do that, through your Bluetooth application. Good morning once again, and we need to take another look at the weather because that's what we do every 15 minutes here on Radio Westchester. It is 41 right now and clear, partly sunny today. Temperatures getting up only to 44. Tonight, mostly cloudy with scattered showers, 40 degrees. On into Wednesday morning, showers giving way to sunshine. We'll take that, 49. Tomorrow night, clear, 38 degrees. Thursday, partly sunny, 50, and in the evening, chilled down to 37 on a Friday. Increasing clouds, late day rain. I wish this rain would go away. Getting to 52, which is actually pretty nice until you get to the nighttime, 40 degrees. And on Saturday, it is sunny and 50. And the weather is brought to you by United Hebrew of New Rochelle, the top-rated campus of senior care. Visit uhgc.org. And this bottom of the hour is brought to you by Aging Issues Management, the law firm of Payne and Kahn, Dominic's Fine Cigars, Plug-in Virtual Reality. And yes, they sponsor. But one of the reasons they sponsor is that I went in there and I said, hey, guys, you should sponsor because I love your restaurant. And they said, you know what, we will. And these are the people over at the Beachmont Tavern. And as you know, it's a little early in the morning to talk food, but I'll talk food anyway. Now, we're talking about my favorite, which is a pretty well done burger with sauteed onions on it, a little ketchup, some fries, or a fresh salad, and I'm good to go. Now, because they are a tavern, you can get a bubbly with that. That is a drink or a beer, whatever. They allow you to take it out under these circumstances. They open a little later each day. They open at 11:30 because they're a bar restaurant, a tavern, if you will, but they have a full takeout menu. They in normal times they also have a full eat-in menu. They open at 11:30, but because they're a tavern, they're open till 1 o'clock in the morning. That means tonight, when you're playing cards or you're watching Netflix or you're doing whatever it is you do with your family because you're stuck home and you want to order something to eat, you can do it at midnight. You can do it at 11:30. You can do it at 1. Well, I would not say 1 o'clock because they're closing the doors, but you can order the burger that I mentioned. You can order chicken wings. You can order all of the other things on their menu. If you go online, you can find it at the Beachmont Tavern website. But here's the number now. Here's what I do. I call them at 636-7533, 6369, excuse me, 9533, 636-9533. I call them and then I go over. And when you walk in the front door of the Beachmont, for those of you, where's the Beachmont, Bob? It is across the street from Iona College, and good for them because when the college comes back, their business will come back. And we are rooting for all the businesses to come back. At 636-9533, you call them and you walk in the door. They're right next to the firehouse there on North Avenue, and the bag will be all wrapped and ready for you. You just pick it up and go. Or if you just want to see what it's like inside, well, you walk in and you order. You have to wait there a few minutes. You can't go in the bar proper because of the circumstances now with the coronavirus, but you can wait right there, get the ambiance for a few minutes. They will prepare your food and give it to you, and you're on your way. And when you walk in the door, they set up tables and almost like a counter there, so you can't really go in, but you can pick up your food, and you won't be disappointed. Appointed to wit. We're trying to promote all the restaurants. And they're not sponsors, but this is a community thing. We're all in this together. My other favorite restaurants, and I'm only throwing my favorite restaurants around because those are the ones that come to mind. But if you have a favorite restaurant, help them out. Order from them. Pick up from them. Buy a gift certificate now. Give them a break because it's going to be hard for them to stay in business. And the heart-wrenching one is, and we put it in the news this morning, which is the Little Mexican Cafe on Main Street. The owner has passed away. His partner is on life support. His son is on life support. They are going to lose their whole business. Now, what's kind of nice is the workers, in terms of some painting that needs to be done and repairs that need to be put together during this time. The workers are actually paying for it out of their own pocket. And they have asked, and it's on other news outlets as well, and we got this from our friends at LoHUD. If you go on the GoFundMe page and you will see help support the Amazon family, you can help them out. Now, I know it's unusual for you to go to a GoFundMe page to help them, but we're asking that if you like that restaurant, or even if you just have some funds and you can help them out, help them out. Similarly, yesterday we got a request from the Rotary Club here in New Rochelle. They have a GoFundMe page that they put together for general assistance to the those people here in New Rochelle and surrounding areas along the Sound Shore that may need help. They too have a GoFundMe page. It is 6:55. Our first guest will be Vince Russo, coming up at 7 o'clock. And I just sipped some coffee that I made myself. You know, one of the problems about being sequestered by yourself is you got to do all these little things by yourself. Nobody can help you. So I've got coffee. I have my raspberry seltzer. I have all the equipment that I managed to turn on myself. I'm brilliant. And many of you are doing the same thing. And full disclosure, now radio is supposed to be the theater of the mind, and somehow I slept through my alarm. I barely got on today, but I got on time, and that's unusual for me. I am absolutely habituated to getting up early, but I was actually up late doing my show prep in the middle of the night, couldn't sleep. And I'll share with you why I couldn't sleep. I've got, and this isn't about me, this is about you because every one of you now can tell this story. Two of my closest friends. And I'm not telling you this story about oh poor Bob because this is oh poor all of us. One of my closest friends has already passed away. Totally healthy. And those of you who listened last week know I did a tribute to him. Know that this happened. But this is about that this virus is going to have touched all of us, or going to touch all of us, and it will have touched all of us before we're done with it, or before it becomes integrated with our lives, more generally speaking. Just like the virus, this will be with us, we're called forever now. This guy was a horse. This guy was, as you may have read yesterday, a 42-year-old who passed away here in Westchester. But many people of that age group now passed away. This guy was older than that, but in Olympic caliber shape. Within 10 days from cradle to grave, he moved on. And last night before I went to sleep, I was looking at my texts with him. And for those of you whose language is the language of men, sometimes women too, but men and athletes, etc. About 9 hours before he died, he texted me that I'm going to beat this mother effer. God bless him. And a little later, he reached out and he asked me a question, and he said, I guess the next step is a respirator. Oxygen's not quite working that well. And my answer to him was, well, if that's what will make you comfortable and help you get back to good health, you will make it. And he said, yeah, I guess so. Right now, I'm still on plan B. And maybe 2 or 3 hours before he passed away, our last exchange was, my prayers and my spirit, my vibes are with you. Stay well. See you soon. Hang in there. And his last word was hanging. And within 3 or 4 hours, he was gone. Another friend of mine who has compromising issues and whose health is not well. He has a milder version of the virus, but his pre-existing conditions have rendered him now on his way, likely to intensive care. Why do I mention this? Believe this, I do not need any I'm sorry for your, because it's not me I'm worried about, it's them. But what I'm worried about is all of us, because this is going to touch all of us. So as we move towards the reopening, and it won't be this month likely, but sometime in May or June, or some graduated, phased reopening of the economy. When we do this, some will have to stay home. People who are older, people who have pre-existing conditions, unless they come up with something to mitigate the virus, or perhaps even to make us immune, some sort of a vaccine. By the vaxxers will have an issue with this. We're not all just going to be able to run about in the streets and say kumbaya, hug and kiss one another like we used to. We may never be able to shake hands again, or at least the way we used to, or give a hug to a comrade the way we used to. I don't know. But what I'm saying is this virus will have touched all of us the way it's touched me and you and everyone else before it's over. And it will leave you, as it did me, lying in my bed last night and realizing how capricious and how precious this life is. So anyway, welcome to Mornings with Bob Marrone. Welcome to Radio Westchester this morning on this Tuesday, April 14th, 2020. and know that you have, and I'm sure it's touched all of you as it has me. Uh, you have my condolences, and we will do our best to give you information about the virus, and we will do our best, though, more importantly, to keep you informed and to some extent keep you entertained. But more than anything, just to be someone that, or some place where you can commiserate. I mean, some of the stories are just incredible. And we are getting our first caller as well. We should indeed. We have a locked in Vince Russo, but first, and he knows this because he started radio with me all these years ago, we need to take a look at the weather. And once again, we remind you it is Tuesday, April 14th, 2020. You're listening to Radio Westchester Mornings with Bob Marrone. We are your radio station at the train station. But guess what? We're not at the train station. We are observing, I can't even pronounce it, observing social distancing. We are broadcasting remotely. Let's take a look at that weather once again, and the weather is brought to you exclusively by United Hebrew of New Rochelle, voted one of America's best rehabilitation and senior care campuses, and it's right here in New Rochelle. Visit UHGC.org. It's 41 degrees right now here in New Rochelle. It's clear. Partly sunny skies today, but we'll only have a temperature of 44, so you'll need a jacket or a sweater and a jacket. Tonight, mostly cloudy, but scattered showers. Hey, look, I'm just the messenger. Don't yell at me. 40 degrees. Wednesday, we'll have morning showers, but giving way to sunshine tomorrow. 50 degrees. Tomorrow night, 38. Thursday, partly sunny, 50 degrees at night, 37 again. I don't know why we have these temperatures in the 30s. It is April. Well, I guess April showers bring May flowers. We're certainly seeing that. And on Friday, increasing clouds, late day rain, 52, and at night, 40 degrees. Into Saturday, 50 and sunny. We thank Aging Issues Management. Nice job by Joe Soroselli yesterday, the law firm of Payne & Kahn, Dominic's Fine Cigars, Plug-in Virtual Reality, and our friends at the Beachmont Tavern. They bring you the 7 o'clock hour. Okay, we go to our first guest of the day. He's kind of like our warm-up guy. You know, if you've ever been to the David Letterman show, one of these other shows that are on now, Stephen Colbert, they have someone who warms you up. He warms me up. My friend of, my goodness, 65 years. He is an elected official. He's an elected official in New Jersey. He can talk about anything and everything. We started in radio together now almost 20 years ago. Please welcome Vince Russo. Good morning, Vince. How are you? Hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out. Hold on. My microphone is not doing what I want it to do. Just hold on a minute. How's that? Say hello. Well, I can hear you. Oh, I'm out there. Can you hear me? How do I sound? Okay, I'm hearing you out of my computer and not my headphones. A minor glitch because I can hear you. My microphone is acting very strangely, so let me see what I can do. All righty, talk to me, young man. What's going on? Incredibly so. If you were listening to our headlines, we had 40,000 power outages yesterday, and we had one particular event, if I may, where we lost. We actually had a power line go down because of a tree, and it burned through the asphalt. It lasted 10 minutes. No, well, we didn't have the rainbow, but we certainly had all of the rain, my friend. Now, tell me, did you guys have any flooding?
Not that I'm aware of. That right by me, there's a lot of low-lying areas where they usually flood, but no, I don't think the rain was enough. It was on and off all day, so it really wasn't enough to cause flooding. I'm sure there were probably some trees down and power outages, around the state, but nothing widespread.
Nothing widespread at all. I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. I'm going to ask you to call me back. I'm having a problem with the sound, your sound. Could you please call me back? Go back and give it another ring, okay?
Okay.
Just do that for me. Thank you very much. You're listening to Radio Westchester. And Anthony, thank you very much. You said that you can't hear Vince, neither can I. So we're going to ask him to call back. I'm trying to figure out why we can't hear him. And everything that I set up last night was good to go. So let me see what the issue is. All right, it's not going to the board. I see what the issue is. All right, we're going to play some music and fix that, so stay right there, folks. Vince, you stay there. Speak to me.
Okay, my friend, I'm back.
All right, it's going to be this crazy microphone, but we have ways of making people talk. Oh, technology, technology, technology. So we're going to do this, plug you back in and see why you are not doing what you're supposed to do. All righty. Try it again. All right, I am going to figure this out because it is a technical issue. Vince, I'm going to ask you to let me call you back, okay? Call back again. Thanks. All right, why do we have this problem?
I'm back.
Yeah, and you're still... All right, I'm going to unplug you back. Speak to me, Vince.
Okay, man, how's that?
Yeah. All right, try it again.
Okay, how we doing? Has it fixed yet?
Try it now.
All right. Yeah.
All right, I've got to do some. I will call you back. I have to do some troubleshooting, folks. This is Radio Westchester. You stay right there. Hang in there, folks. I'm not a bad troubleshooter, even without an engineer. Just got to fix this up. Tall rabbit. Still trying. All right, folks, we're going to try something right online here. All right, Vince. All right, we're going to try a few things. We're going to troubleshoot with you as the live guinea pig. Okay. Still do not have you, and I know it has to do with this wacky microphone that I'm using. Whenever you move it, it does some strange things. I've got to change it. Just stay right there, folks. All right, try that, Vince. You're still on the computer. I think I'm going to have to put a direct patch in. It's going to take another minute or two, folks. You're listening to Radio Westchester. We have a technical problem. It is 7:16. We'll be back with Vince. Vince, we will call you. You stay right there. right, let's see if this new microphone works. It's a little less sensitive than the other one and doesn't do things it shouldn't do. Nope, it's still not doing what I wanted to do. So you stay right there, folks. Don't go anywhere. Vince Russo, it is 7:19. We're going to have to do a total monologue if this doesn't work. All righty, back to the music. Vince, how do we sound? Hello. Is that is you, Mike Edelman, correct? All right, I'm having some technical problems. I have to solve them with what we call a patch. So call back in about 3 minutes. Thank you, sir. I think I did it. I hope that it's synced. Can you hear me, Mike Edelman? All right. Now, let me see if I unplug this, if you still hear me. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can.
All right. We're going to have to deal with it. It's going to be with a little bit of a background, but I'll take it. Good morning, Mike Edelman. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. You know, we set up.
Not to worry.
You sound like you're in a some sort of a band room, but we'll take it. Again, we had to take our studio and relocate it, so we had a lot of connections to make, and for some reason overnight we lost one. The president yesterday, his assertions that he can tell the whole country to turn back on without the governor's approval, can he do that?
No, we cannot do that. First of all, he gave that up when he said 2 weeks ago, I don't want to tell the governors what to do. I want the governors to decide what's best for their states. And they did. Some of them closed it down entirely. DeSantis in Florida did not until 2 days ago. And now, in order to open it up, the governors will make the decision. They made the first decision. They're going to make the second decision, and he cannot compel them to do anything having to do with opening up, quote unquote, the economy. The governors are now banding together on the East Coast and on the West Coast, about six East Coast governors, Cuomo leading the pack, New Jersey, Connecticut, Delaware, are going to figure out how they can open the economy slowly without inducing a return of the virus, which is what everybody is afraid of. Because if we, go ahead.
No, one of the concerns that I have is even if we turn this back on, you know, this is going to sound silly, but this is all logic. As we go back down the curve, people are going to die at the same rate that they were dying on the way up the curve, or at least not die at the same rate, but still continue to die.
That's because we're not testing. Yes, we're not testing. You can't open the economy up and expose people to asymptomatic carriers of the disease until you know who the hell they are. And if you don't, you can't tell who's carrying the disease, but isn't himself or herself sick. And that's what's missing in this whole puzzle. And Trump doesn't seem to understand that. He's got to rely on his medical professionals. It's not about whether he wants to win the election because the economy comes back or the stock market comes back. This is going to be a whole different way of living until there's a vaccine. When there's a vaccine, we can get back to work fully.
You know what I can't understand about the president's thinking, or at least behavior in this case, is I understand that he had a booming economy and he was going to run on that, but very frankly, he had the perfect excuse for the economy not doing well under these circumstances. So he could have used that, and I think the public would have understood. But his total, like wanting to have it both ways with Fauci, like tweeting that he should be fired at the same time that he says he's not going to fire him, I don't understand why people don't find that weird.
Well, it's a mixed message, and he's been doing that. He's trying to salve his base by, repeating what his followers are tweeting about Fauci. Some of them have called him a deep state agent who wants to only bring down Trump. That's nonsense. He served 6 presidents of both parties. He's a virus expert. He is not a politician. He is there to tell the truth. That's the problem. Trump doesn't want to hear the truth.
Why?
And Fauci had to clean up his statement yesterday. I would imagine he was forced to do it. But all Fauci said to Jake Tapper's question was, yes, if we had clamped down on social distancing a month earlier, there'd be less fatalities. That's science. That's not politics. Not a big deal, and Trump shouldn't have made a big deal out of it.
Well, he inferred that it was an insult that he wasn't ready.
Correct.
See, my position on it is, yes, I know Obama had something in place that was taken apart, but nonetheless, I don't think America would have been as prepared for this no matter who was president. But it's his reactions that, I'm concerned about. But more importantly, it's the, I don't know, It's the sense of things that I see, particularly on AM radio, that I listen to on AM radio, that I see on the web, that there's some great communist democratic conspiracy to bring him down, and that's what this whole virus thing is about. That's frightening, Michael.
Yes, it's wacky, but believe it or not, there are 30% of Americans that buy into that. They buy into conspiracy theories. For the internet, you see things that are totally. My son comes in and tells me stuff that you know it's not true. All you got to do is Google it. There is no conspiracy to break the Democrats want to replace Donald Trump. But look at the independents. Look at what happened in Wisconsin in the judicial race last week. A liberal judge won against an incumbent Republican by 100,000 plus votes, 7% in the one state that Donald Trump needs to win after Trump endorsed the Republican.
Do you think that's really a harbinger of things to come? And why is it, not just incumbency, why is it still considered such a close race when the president on a daily basis, even if you're a fan of the president, to be just totally fair, while the press now is gotten to the point where they're so angry at him, I don't know that they can be fair anymore. But nonetheless, the president winds up being his own prosecutor. Why do people not? In fact, I saw one guy post something yesterday that broke my heart. He compared the president to the typical politician. And he said that, do you really want a politician that speaks nicely and uses big words and that gets into details when what you have here is a manly man instead of a wussy? Does 50% of
nonsense.
No, but what I'm trying to tell you, Michael, is that 40% of the country believes that. Why?
Yes, because they look. We have been besieged over the last 20 years by people like Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, more recently Jeanine Pirro, Laura Ingraham, and a whole
don't even mention Laura
array
Ingraham to me.
Of hard right wing, anti-liberal, let's say, get the libs. Their whole reason, the raison d'etre for being there is because they want to own the libs, because they know that if an election was held and everybody could vote, they'd get slaughtered. So they're hanging on to power any way they can. And if misdirection and misinformation and calling out a communist conspiracy against Donald Trump is what they have to say to get the attention of 40% of the votes, they will. They'll say anything they can.
Yes,
but it's not factual.
Yes, but Michael, what I'm getting at is two things. A, the liberals have certainly done enough things to make people not want to vote for them ever. I get that in many circumstances. However, there are these people that believe what I just said. It's not just, they're not sitting back when they get ready to go on Facebook and say, what can I say to help Donald Trump get elected? They really believe that having a profane screamer, and maybe the liberals did this to them, that having someone who dumbs it down, who calls people a-holes, they believe that this kind of demeanor is manly and righteous and American. Worse still, what have we done?
We've always had a strain of right-wing nationalism that rears its ugly head from time to time, that is not fact-based, not based on truth, it's based on rumors and conspiracy. If Donald Trump, it doesn't bother me that he's crass, but he's a liar. If he was telling the truth and he was doing it in a salty way, yeah, well, that's fine. Okay? I realize that this course is no longer...
I lost you there for a minute, Michael.
Got me?
I'm getting you back now. I'm having a little bit of a problem with this thing. I want to scream. All right, go ahead.
So we're looking at it, we see that it's not fact-based, and they're throwing out lies. He's throwing out lies. He listens to Fox in the morning. He listens to Sean Hannity. He listens to Limbaugh. He's not running the country, really. And he repeats 20 years. So, when you get fed that day in, day out by the Murdochs, you're going to take the position that 40% of Americans take, which is that this is a deep state conspiracy to overthrow the president.
Michael, I'm having technical difficulties again. Let me see what I can do. Try this again. All right, speak to me, baby. All right, we are, Michael, we'll get back to you later. I cannot believe this is happening, but this is the nature of when we relocated the studio. We may need to fix one of our computers. This is Radio Westchester. All right, let's see how we're doing now. Are you there? Good morning. All right. Hello.
Hi, Bob. Like Duffy here.
Hey, Michael, I'm having an issue with technology this morning. You know how technology is. Can you hear me? Oh, Michael. Mike Duffy. There you are. Michael, you there? Michael? I love when this happens. I am going to do a reversal. It's either the computer or it's me. We're going to the left channel, and we are going to try a new device. All right, let's try it now. Are you there?
I am.
All righty. Let's try it now. How you doing?
Good, Bob. How are you?
Well, my problem is with the technology, as you can see, and I am not having a good day. So I want to try one more.
Sounds like a loose plug or a loose wire.
You know what happened? We relocated the studio to be good citizens, and let me see. The problem is that the equipment is not doing what it's supposed to do. So let me hit an OK button here. I'm playing with all these computers. Say hello. Michael, are you there?
We're completely gone there.
There you go. I just got to you. Okay, talk to me. Can you hear me now? Michael, I want you to call me back. All right. Do I have to do this? And I think the problem is with this computer. Call me back, Michael, and let's see how we make out. Or actually, I will call Michael back. This is live stuff.
You have reached 747-3969.
Well, I
Leave a
did.
message at the tone.
After leaving a message, you can hang up or press pound for more options.
Okay, let's try it again. Michael, I think I have you. I think I have you, Michael. Are you there, sir? Mike Duffy. No, I cannot hear him. I'm going to try a resume call. All righty, Mike Duffy, are you there? Michael? Da-da-da-da-da. All right. We may have to put this whole thing to sleep and then try again tomorrow. I don't know what the problem is today, but this is the nature of live radio.
You have reached 747-3969. Please leave a message at the tone.
After leaving a message,
He
you
must
can
be
hang
trying
up.
to call me, so let's see how that works. Let's see. Let me call you, Michael.
Hello.
There we go. Can you hear me, sir? No, he cannot. So I tell you what I'm going to do, Michael. I'm sorry that you can't hear me and I can't hear you. I have a problem and I'm going to have to fix it.
Robert, can you hear me at all? I got no audio from your end, if you can hear me.
Okay, can you hear me now? You cannot hear me now. All right, we're going to pull the plug. We're not going to put people through this today. I'm going to do a little bit of a monologue and then we'll move on. I do not know why we're having these problems, folks. It's a little... Yeah, you know what the problem is, Michael? You're coming in on my computer, but you're not translating to the board. And I just tried one more time to do that. You can hear me still?
I can, a little bit of an echo, but I hear you fine. I don't
Yeah, you're hearing me fine, but the problem is I can't get you. Oh, let's see. Yeah, I can't get you coming out of my board. I'm going to try one more time, just for good time's sake. But you're not hearing me, are you? You can hear me now.
I hear you. Like,
Right, but I can't get you coming out of the computer into my board. So I am going to have to pull the plug on the show today until I figure this out. But I'm going to do a monologue. Michael, thank you very much. We will call you to reschedule. Mike Duffy, everyone, a very fine defense attorney. While I have you,
with your technical.
yeah, it happens once in a while. Well, obviously, folks, as you can see, what we're going to do is this. Before we go, though, and we're going to talk a little bit, at least I get to talk a little bit to you about what's going on. My apologies. Again, this is the nature of the beast. We have an equipment problem, and we're going to have to switch out one of the computers, and that's going to take time. And I tell you what, though, we'll make an announcement later. We'll do a show somewhat later in the day. We may even come back on at 9 o'clock if we can. But I'm going to have to switch out a computer and do some sort of uh, fixing, if you will, and put the computer back in place. So what you're going to get is a repeat show for this morning, and then we will get back online tomorrow. I'm Bob Marrone. This is Radio Westchester. I am sorry for the inconvenience. This is the first time that it has happened where, because of technical difficulties, we have to give you a replay. But that's what we're going to do. Now, I could do a monologue all morning long, and certainly the Lord gifted me with enough verbal, as my mother used to call it, diarrhea to go on and on and on. But I'm sure you just don't want to listen to one man talk about all the different things that are going on in the world. But before we go, I will share this with you. It does look like the coronavirus has leveled off here in New York. It does appear that it will start to level off on the East Coast and then work its way south and out west. Of course, the left coast has the same kinds of problems that we do because of the density and, again, its proximity to China and how people travel there to the West Coast from China. But for those of you who are 70 years old, 65 years old plus, or who have medical problems, I'm not an idiot, and neither are you. And one of the concerns I have is that as we level off and then descend, the way statistics work, many of you, I'm going to be very direct, and because I want you to be very direct when you talk to or question our leaders, on the way down from the peak, people are going to die. On the way down from the peak, people are going to go to work and they're going to contract the virus and they're going to die. It's not going to go from level to zero. It's going to go from, oh, great, we're not losing 800 people a day anymore. We're only losing 6, and then 5, and then 3, and then 2, and then wherever it levels off, wherever this disease levels off as a part of the zeitgeist, as a part of the everyday reality, people are going to die. And so we revert to a certain kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Libertarianism. Don't let it be you. If you work in close proximity with a lot of people, maybe if you are not, and if they haven't tested you and you are not immune, maybe you, if you're 70 years old or 65 or have asthma or have a pre-existing condition, maybe you don't want to go to work. You don't want to be that statistic. Because, yes, and I'm not one of those people who think we shouldn't reopen the economy. We have to. We will all perish if we don't. And at some point, as the president once said, the cure will be worse than the disease. But you don't want to be one of the good statistics. Oh, look, we're getting better. No one ever wanted to be the last person shot in the war. You don't want to be the last person to die of this crisis. But at some point in time, it will not be deemed a crisis. It will be a part of our lives. To it, I say, you're not going to cross a 6-lane highway without an overpass or a light or something to protect you. So what I'm saying is, you don't want to be the person or one of the people who, oh, guess what? We're not losing 700 people a day. We're now losing 40. I mean, the 400. You want to go to your doctor. You want to find out what your status is. And they haven't figured that out yet. And this is where we need to be demanding, because where the president is on the money and the governors now are talking about getting back to normal are on the money, is that at some point in time, if we don't get an economy back, all of us are going to be running around the streets trying to steal food, and it'll be worse, many times worse perhaps than the Great Depression. So now we revert back to the individual, and I'm repeating myself for emphasis here. You don't want to be one of those people. And it may mean you have to leave your job. It may mean that you have to do something different. It may mean that until you get tested or until there's a vaccine, because the virus isn't going to become any less virulent. If you are of a certain age or have a pre-existing condition, and if you have, and we don't know why 42-year-olds die, we don't know why my Olympic in shape friend died. We don't know why a 20-year-old man died. We don't know why the entire management structure of the little Mexican cafe here on Main Street, we do not know why the owner died. The partner is on a ventilator, not likely to come off, and the son is on a ventilator. We don't know. So yes, we'll have to put our big boy shoes and big girl shoes back on and get back out into the world. But now it's going to be incumbent on each of us, each of you, to know what your odds are. Because, and this is not meant as a criticism, but whether it's President Trump, Governor Cuomo, Mayor de Blasio, Mayor Bramson, the county executive Latimer, when they reopen the economy, they will be looking for the greater good. And they're right. But now I'm asking you to be a little selfish. You don't want to be one of the better, if you will, relatively better statistics on our way back to economic health. So you'll talk to your doctor. You'll find out if you have antibodies. You'll find out if you have the virus. You find out if you're likely to get it. And frankly, some of you listening to my voice, and that includes me, we will go out and we will take our risks, and some of us are going to die. And that's just the way it is. So now, though, with our big boy pants on and with our big girl dresses and pants and skirts, and if you're binary, whatever you happen to wear today, it's going to be incumbent on us to be responsible for ourselves. The government at that point is going to do its best to give you information. But once things open back up, this is America. They're not going to take care of you, nor should you expect that. You're going to have to get tested. You're going to have to know your circumstances. And we're all going to have to get back to work or to our new lives, such as they will be. So that is a warning to you. Now I'm going to put some music on. I'm not going to go off the air yet. I'm going to come back with a little bit of news stories because it just seems almost criminal to go off the air, but I'm not going to bore you with 3 hours of monologue. Although I've done it. I once did 9 hours during a storm. But I think it's incumbent on me to get this stuff fixed and to reschedule some of our guests. Now, we had a great show planned for today, and it's killing me. We had Dr. Neti Gupta, who's going to talk to us about viruses as they relate, or this virus as it relates to your allergies. Jim Kalorum was going to be with us today. Mike Duffy, we've already had to blow off. Tom Abinante, Jack Breslin. So we'll see what we can do. So you stay right there. We'll be right back. made a last-ditch effort to get that fixed, but we are going to share the weather with you and a couple of the news stories before we go. The weather's brought to you exclusively by United Hebrew of New Rochelle, voted one of America's best rehabilitation and senior care campuses, and it's right here in New Rochelle. Visit uhgc.org, and it's 44 degrees right now. It's going to get up to about 51. We'll have mostly clear skies today. And then on into tomorrow, we may have a touch of rain. Sorry about the technical difficulties today. I got to get a hold of some of our guests and move on. But once again, I remind you, we'll make an announcement. We'll try and get back on the air maybe in an hour or so. So my apologies. These things happen in this business. Again, we relocated the studio. We had no problems yesterday, and I'm not sure why we have the C-Cup today, but it's the nature of the way we arrange the equipment as we are acquiescing to social distancing to protect others, including myself. I got really tired of doctors and family and people yelling at me. And then when I developed a sinus infection, God, everybody thought I was going to die. But again, it either was or was not masking a problem. So you all stay right there, or don't stay there, or go about your business, and we'll try and get back on the air. I'm going to shoot for, let's see, it's coming up on 8 for 9 o'clock, but I can't promise. We'll see you soon. 27th win, and that's Division III NCAA basketball. Good for them. All righty, we're going to take a break. You're listening to Radio Westchester. Actually, you're listening to Mornings with Bob Marrone. I am he. It is 7:10. We'll go to the weather in a little bit, but I want to give you the headlines first. Not the headlines, excuse me. The guest today, Vince, is going to come on about 7:20. George Latimer's with us this morning. Jake is coming on at 6 o'clock to hold me accountable for my picks and talk about some of these sports stories we mentioned. We're going to share more news with you at 8:20, some of it regarding the just passed I'm sorry, I just got a note here across the desk. The Black History Month. Alrighty, I'm back on the. My brain has returned. Alrighty, so we're going to do that at 8:20. Delphin Husler, he is the managing editor of the Yonkers Insider. He's going to talk with us at 8:35, and we are going to talk about Coach DiRienzo's issues here in New Rochelle and Yonkers. Tom Abenante joins us at 8:50, and Bob Cox joins us at let me get this. I think this guy wants me to call him. I will. Bob Cox joins us in the 9 o'clock hour. And we take a look at the weather. The weather is brought to you exclusively by United Hebrew of New Rochelle, voted one of America's best rehabilitation and senior care campuses, and it's right here in New Rochelle. Visit uhgc.com. It is 38 degrees right now. Forecasts tell us we'll have, though, sun and clouds later today. We have a clear sky at the moment. A mix of sun and clouds getting up near 60. Tonight, cloudy with periods of rain showers, mild with lows around 45 degrees. Tuesday, mostly cloudy with periods of scattered rain. Not a total washout, though highs near 60 once again. And Wednesday, a mixture of sun and clouds. The high will be 53. And the top of the hour is brought to you by Aging Issues Management, the law firm of Payne & Kahn, Dominic's Fine Cigars, and Plug-in Virtual Reality. And let's do a reset. We are going to get a hold of our buddy in just a moment. He's been trying to get through while we've been doing the news, and he is, of course, Tom from Pelham. This is Mornings with Bob Marrone. I am he. Now, tomorrow night, from 8 to 11, we will cover here on Radio Westchester, we will cover the Super Tuesday results as they come in from across the country. We even have a map here that we're going to look at. Oh, no, that's the... I showed you the map of the coronavirus, which we'll talk about later. I actually have here in my little stack of fun the map showing what states and what votes will come in on Super Tuesday. We'll get people to talk about what, in fact, tomorrow in the morning, we're going to get our good buddy Andy Spano to come on and talk about how super delegates work. You're going to find that interesting. But right now, you're listening to Radio Westchester, yet another morning show. We are the radio station at the train station. Stay right there.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Thomas. How are you? Tom from Pelham is
Great.
on the line. We saw you trying to get through and we got back to you. Welcome to the program. What's on your mind this morning besides the Isles having a little bit of trouble?
Yeah, you were talking about the Rangers having to really perform at a maximum level to make the playoffs. You know, you're going to disagree with me, but I think the Islanders are going to have to fight and claw to make the playoffs. And if I were to put money on it right now, I'd put money on it that they're going to miss the playoffs.
You know, though, you're a little, if I may, and this is a sign of heartfelt fans. You ever notice when Vince calls about his Habs, his Canadians, he's the same way. Oh, they'll never win. You've got a good team there and a good coach. I expect them to get a hold of themselves. I really do. I think they'll make it. But you're right.
Do you remember the 17-game streak that they went on where they got points in 17 straight games,
Yeah.
15 wins and two ties, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you pull that section of the season out of their record for the year, they're an under 500 team, and under 500 teams do not make the playoffs.
That's true, but you necessarily you have to include that. But it's the seasons ebb and flow. You know, did you look at the schedule the last 3 weeks? They give these players all that time off, the All-Star break, and then they get the week out. These teams, like the Rangers, particularly in this conference, they've been playing like 5 games in 7 days. I mean, they must be exhausted. And that's why you can see the Flyers coming on. The Flyers have been coming on for about 3 or 4 months, 2 or 3 months rather, under everybody's radar. But I've been keeping an eye on them. And they look good. They're playing well. They're playing very well.
Well, Bob, the problem with the Islanders is that they don't put the puck in the net. And that works okay in the playoffs where the games are 2-1, 3-1, 3-2. But, the average NHL game is gonna have 6 or 5 goals scored. And the Islanders are scoring about 2.5 goals a game.
Yeah, they could have used, I thought they might pick, well, this guy Pajot is very good, though. And he plays with an edge. But they could have used a sniper, but there aren't that many snipers available during these times. That's why.
Well, they offered a big sniper more money than the Rangers offered him, Panarin, and he decided he wanted to play on the bright lights of Broadway.
Yeah, well, you know what it is too. Yeah, a lot of the Russian players want to come to the bright lights of Broadway. Although you know what they don't realize, Long Island's a lot closer to the to the Russian enclave in Brighton Beach. I mean, they just go down the southern state and they're there. But nobody told them. But again, Broadway is where they want to play. Did you see, I was really pleased because, I love hockey more than I love the Rangers, the hockey itself, that it looks like next year you'll be playing only in the Coliseum. Did you read that?
I know. Well, I was watching the Butch Goring number 91 uniform retirement ceremony, and after that, Governor Cuomo was there giving a press conference. And is that what the conference was all about? I caught the end of it. I thought it was only playoff games. I turned to my son and I said, I hope there will be playoff games. So they're not going to play anymore in Brooklyn. They're done.
Well,
there.
It looks like they've got 3 more games in Brooklyn in the regular season. They may have to. Now they're going to play the first round in the Coliseum this year, and they're not sure. They were almost saying they're not sure they're going to get past the first round, but they're not sure what they'll do after that. But next year, the entire season will be played in Long Island, which is kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand. You know, it's a question of degrees. When they spent all that money, $30 million or whatever it was, and now, or maybe more, and they just spent another $6 million. Why didn't they just finish the job and add another 500 seats and some more boxes and end this? They should have done that, and I'm disappointed that Nassau County didn't get involved. But even so,
Bob, I'm sorry. Nassau County did get involved, and they didn't want it to be done. That guy, Charles, what was his name? He passed away. The former owner.
Oh yes, Charles Wang.
Yeah, he had a grandiose plan. The project was called Lighthouse, and it was going to be a major development right there. You know, the arena, the shopping, the hotel. It was a major project, and it got shot down by the county.
It's unfortunate because that is a centerpiece of New York sports and the absolute icon of major athletics for Long Island. Just too bad. But it looks like they'll come back, and they're going to get their other rink in Belmont. But anyone who's ever been to a game in the Coliseum knows that it is the Islanders' home. And it's a great atmosphere. And I always loved that building. I told you I went to like the first game there. I even went to a pregame there. You know, it was a big. See, I'm older than you are, and as Anthony likes to remind me of all the time. And myself and Vince, the aforementioned Vince, he and I went out to the meet and greet before the Islanders opened the doors, and we met.
Well, I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, and we met. In fact, I should. This is him. I'll put him on with us. Hold on a second. We met a whole bunch of the guys that they drafted. Some of the guys that were at the end of their careers, but I remember most notably we met Bob Nystrom and Lorne Henning, and they.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I became a Nystrom fan that day. Could have been nicer people. Let's see if that's him. Vince, is that you?
It is me, Bob. Good morning.
Good morning. Have you been listening to Tom and I talking hockey?
Yeah, I have. Butch Goring and I were born on the exact same day.
Oh, but he's still but he's still half alive.
Oh boy.
Yeah, tell them
we
about
both have the same amount of hair, by the way.
Yeah, tell them about the night we went out there, Vince, and how nice. But remember, Bobby Nystrom was the guy that told us that John Davidson was the best junior goalie in hockey before St. Louis drafted him. Remember, he told us, he said, "This guy Davidson is great. Wait till he comes."
It's a shame, this whole thing with them moving to Brooklyn. At first I thought it was going to be really good. Then the rink turned out to be garbage.
Oh.
And the way the people were treated, the Islander fans in the Coliseum loved to get down by the glass during practice and watch the team and all that. And in Brooklyn, they weren't allowed to do it. It was a whole mess. But I agree with you, Bob. I wish Charles Wang would have been allowed to do that development. They would have had a beautiful rink.
Yeah, it was Tom. Tom was the guy, yeah.
And they would have been able to stay there. I guess they're getting some kind of special dispensation now.
No, they actually spent another $6 million to add some seats and to spiff it up. But the real issue is there aren't enough. I think you got to have more than 15,000 seats. 14 plus. And there are not enough boxes, luxury boxes, the revenue for luxury boxes, that the NHL won't approve it.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, Tom? What do you think about that?
I'm sorry, what do I think about what?
About that they should have spent just a few more $1 million to put the luxury boxes in. That's number one.
I agree. You said it, Bob. That is their home, and I agree with you. I mean, I'm okay with them now going to Belmont and creating a new home. At least it's somewhat on the island, right? I mean, it's not Long Island per se. It's Queens, right?
Well, actually, it's right across the border. It is officially Long Island, but it's literally a block away.
But I would think that this is going to be, if they're doing it right, it's going to be a tremendous arena. Maybe it will help the team attract free agents.
True.
It's they'll probably get an all-star game within a couple of years of it being opened. So it might promote the area and promote the franchise.
A question for you, Tom. This is good. I love opportunities like this. Now, Vince was a goalie and took a little too many to the face mask. So he's a Canadian fan. How does a boy grows up here in Westchester become an Islander fan?
Okay, it's a good question. In the very, very early stages of me watching hockey, there wasn't a team called the New York Islanders.
Right.
So I was watching the Rangers, and it was maybe for a year or so I was watching the Rangers. I remember they had the line with Hatfield and
yes, Gilbert
you know,
and Mattel, sure.
right. You could rattle off the names. Somebody took me to to a Ranger game at the Garden. We sat all the way up the top. I remember I could barely see the players down there. And then the Islanders were born, and I became an Islander fan like right around 1975.
Okay.
I went out to a few games. With my father, and you know, this was when they were starting to draft the Traches and the Gillies and, you know, those guys, Bossy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then when the playoffs began, and in the early years in the playoffs, they were doing okay, but they weren't really winning many series. I just got caught up in the whole thing, and then of course in 1979, I think the Rangers knocked us out.
Yes.
And that was when that team was just about ready to go. And in 1980, along came that trade with Butch Goring and 4 cups in a row, 5 Stanley Cup final appearances in a row.
They always knew where to get good role players. They also had that Mike McEwen, who was. It was before there were a lot of rushing defensemen, and he was a guy who would have been great in this era. He was considered mediocre plus, but he was a really good rushing defenseman, and he made a big difference on their blue line because the blue line was very defensive other than for Potvin. Made a big difference.
Yeah, you make an excellent point because there was a series where they were about to get knocked out. I think it was after their second cup. It was their third year, and they were playing Pittsburgh, and they were down 3-1 with like 5 minutes to go, and that was when Al Arbor pulled out, I think it was Billy Smith, and put in Chico Resch, and he used to get time to warm up the goalie. And now they can't do that, of course, anymore. The backup goalie comes in, he comes in cold. But Mike McEwen made a few major plays in that game at the end.
Yeah, he could carry the mail.
I remember him racing in to keep a puck in the zone, and that led to the second goal. So, that was a good point, Mike McEwen.
But I love their defense. It was a mixture of toughness and skill. They were one of, now Vince's would be right to take umbrage with it because the Canadians were a classy team for decades. But that Islander team was one of the classiest group of hockey players in the history of the sport. You know, you could there's no other way to put it. You could take your kids to an Islander game, and they didn't act like jerks.
You know, and that was the big contrast to the Rangers at that time, because the Rangers, remember, they were making all those jeans commercials, and they were kind of mocking.
They were classy, yeah.
They were mocking the Islander players because they came to the rink in a suit and a tie and all that, and kind of laughing at them. And the Islanders were laughing because they had 4 Stanley Cups.
Well, Vince knows this. I don't know if Tom does. I hated the Rangers growing up because my first coach had done scouting for the Red Wings. Vince knew him. And I was a big Gordie Howe fan and a big Red Wing fan. But I didn't like the fact that after expansion, the Rangers were bullies. And they would beat up on all the expansion teams, and they would check out when the original 6 teams came in. I mean, Hatfield didn't do a lot of time fighting the tough guys. He fought a lot of mediocre tough guys. If you recall. I
want to make a point about the Islanders and kind of draw a string over to the Rangers when they won a cup in '94. You remember Jeff Bukaboom, right?
Oh, God, yes, sure.
Yeah. So the Islanders had sort of a Bukaboom player in Dave Langevin. He was a stay-at-home defenseman.
Yep.
Took the body. Gord Lane, another guy. Gord Lane.
Gordie Lane was a tough guy, and one of the reasons was he stuttered. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know.
It gave him an edge, because guys would make fun of him on the rink. It's got, you can't have any weakness on a hockey rink. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, you were talking about Langevin and
Gord Lane. So they had their combination of defensive defensemen, and then they had, the Mike McEwen type, and then they had, of course, the combination. Sorry?
They had another guy,
Stefan Persson.
Stefan Persson.
Yeah, Stefan Persson. Yeah. And then they had the combination of the two, the ultimate defenseman, offensive defenseman, in Dennis Potvin.
Yep.
One of my favorite players of that era was David Lewis.
Go ahead, Tom.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Thomas, because you're going to say something I think I'm going to agree with. Go ahead.
I was
Tom.
going to say Dennis Potvin is probably just a slight notch behind Bobby Orr.
Well, I got to tell you, Dennis Potvin was better defensively. Dennis Potvin, and people who know I'm a Ranger fan now for the last 30 years are going to shoot me if they're listening. Dennis Potvin was the best two-way defenseman I ever saw. Two-way.
Mm-hmm.
And he had the best wrist shot I ever saw, by the way. He could take a wrist shot from the point. Amazing. Vince?
Yeah, Bob.
You were saying?
Well, but I was saying in that era, one of my favorite players on the Islanders was Davy Lewis.
Oh, yeah, very steady. Very steady.
I just liked him.
He got traded just before all the wins. The sport.
Yeah.
He and Harris and a couple of other people, they got traded at the wrong time. But they even, I mean, do you realize Butch Goring centered the third line? That's what a great team they were. And Wayne Merrick centered the second line. Wayne Merrick could have been a professional baseball player. He was a great catcher, you know. Just saying, so you guys know all my little trivia. Vince knows that era.
Hey, Bob, what are your thoughts on Brian Leach?
Oh, God, a great puck carrying defenseman. Great puck carrier. One of the best I ever saw. Probably belongs in the Hall of Fame if he's not already. I don't know if he is, but I thought he was great. Not great defensively, but good. But boy, could he carry the mail, and he was clutch.
Yeah,
he was clutch. Some players come.
I don't know if I ever told you, but early in my real estate career, I was showing some townhouses up in Portchester on the Rybrook line.
Yeah,
and three of the Rangers were actually renting that townhouse, and I met Ty Domi actually as he was coming. He was coming out of the master bathroom as I was heading into the master bedroom with my clients, and I met Ty Domi.
How was he? I never met him in my travels. Was he?
He said hello. He was very, very amicable.
John Erickson lived there.
Actually.
John Erickson lived in Portchester. His kid was born in Portchester. In fact, it's funny. A lot of the Rangers live up in Purchase and such. Do you know who became a real part of the Purchase community? Was John Tortorella.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there and part of Greenberg. He used to go to the Greenberg Pet Center there. Oh God, what do they call it? Where they put the dogs that have no home. Anyway.
Humane Society.
Yeah, he used to go there and walk dogs on weekends. Can you believe that stuff?
I have a question for Vince.
Shoot.
Hey Vince, who's your favorite Canadian of all time?
Oh, that's easy. Kenny Dryden.
Ah, okay.
I was a goalie, so naturally I gravitate in that fashion. And to me, he was just the epitome of grace and style, intelligence. He was a Cornell graduate, and when he came out of the minors that year, he won Rookie of the Year, and he won the Stanley Cup, and it was just fantastic watching him. And I always admired him because he got into a dispute with the team over money, and he said, "No, I'm not going to play."
Took the year off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, took a year off. And then after, when he played only about 9 years in the league, and he said, "Oh, all right,
I have other things I want to do with my life.
Do something else." Yeah.
All right, let me give Tom one here. Remember, Ken Morrow came straight from the Olympic gold that we've all been celebrating for a week, and then went on to win 4 cups with the Islanders. Good grief.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him. Hey, listen, I got a couple of 1 or 2 more items for Vince, so I got to move on from you. Thanks so much for the call, Thomas.
Bye, Tom. Good talking with you, Vince. Take care.
We're going to be doing a lot more of that. Podhockey.com starts up next week. So, Vince, a couple of other things. The news was interesting. Biden is back in the race.
Yeah, boy, that has trimmed down quite a bit over the weekend. I was surprised that Buttigieg bailed out.
Oh, he was smart too. He wasn't.
Yeah, but before Super Tuesday, I don't know. I would have thought he would have hung in there until at least then. It's only a couple days.
I think he got a call from Crazy Bernie.
Well, I don't know, maybe, but I think Joe got a kickstart to his campaign. With South Carolina, won decisively, and Super Tuesday is going to be the determinant. They're going to go head to head pretty much. And they're going to see if Bernie's going to be the nominee. All of the analysis that I've read says that Bernie's going to be the winner in Super Tuesday.
That's not what I'm getting.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm getting. I think Biden's going to come out. Actually, I'm disappointed in a way because Mike Bloomberg was my choice. But I got to tell you, even in the Post today, they go out of their way to try and support Bernie because they want Bernie to win badly, and they keep underscoring Bernie's getting screwed. Bernie's getting screwed.
Well, do they want Bernie to win the election, or do they want Bernie to win because Trump can beat him easily?
I'm going to hit you with a duh there. They know that he's their ticket back for 8 years. See, somehow I'm looking for Michael Bloomberg and Mr. not the one to be vice president and Biden to close ranks somehow,
but
financially or whatever.
I think with Bloomberg, it was way too late. You know, all the ads notwithstanding, you know, people just see him as this newcomer to the process. He missed the first 4 primaries, and